how did Jeffrey Epstein get in that position? Where actually did his money come from? Because as always with these people that sort of appear on the scene and have large amounts of money or political clout or connections, you actually have to question how they arrived. You can't start in the middle of the story where Epstein has an island and a townhouse and is friends with everybody and a billionaire. You have to start at the beginning of the story. How did he get his billions? How did he come into possession of a private island? How did he meet all these people? And this answer is actually very simple. Epstein was enriched by two people. For the most part, his vast sums of money, the majority of it came from exactly two clients by the name of Leon Black and Les Wexner, both of them Jewish. First, let's talk about Leon Black. This is a New York Times article about him and his connection to Jeffrey Epstein. And then we'll work through his story and how he got to be rich and how he came to be involved with Epstein. It says, quote, Mr. Epstein had no formal training in tax and estate planning, but after a few years working at an investment bank, he convinced a few business elites to hire him for financial advice. Mr. Black found Mr. Epstein to be impressive and a little mysterious. It wasn't just his ties to the ultra-wealthy. He also seemed to always be surrounded by beautiful women. Leon Black told a publication last year, quote, he was almost like a James Bond villain. In 1997, long before Mr. Epstein became a formal advisor to Mr. Black, he and his wife Deborah put Mr. Epstein on the board of directors of their newly created family foundation. A couple years later, Mr. Black and two other Apollo executives donated $500,000 to one of Epstein's nonprofits. Epstein introduced Mr. Black to several young women. Some of the women later accused Mr. Black of abusing them. In 2002, for example, Mr. Epstein arranged for Mr. Black to meet Sherry Pearson, whom Mr. Epstein had paid for massages, according to a lawsuit that Ms. Pearson filed years later and eventually withdrew. She met Mr. Black in Mr. Epstein's townhouse where Mr. Black raped her in the massage room. Mr. Black denied the claim and said he had never met Ms. Pearson. While Mr. Epstein repeatedly rattled off the projects he said he was undertaking for Mr. Black, the actual role that he played, as well as the true value of his work, is unclear. Yet Mr. Epstein told Mr. Black that the work was highly valuable. Ultimately, Mr. Black coughed up the fees that Mr. Epstein requested. The total would reach $170 million
Crazy.
in total. By a wide margin, Mr. Black was Mr. Epstein's greatest source of income after 2012. The runner-up was the French banker Ariane de Rothschild, who paid Mr. Epstein at least $15 million. So when you think about these sums of money, after 2012, Leon Black gives him $170 million. The next biggest client is only $15 million and happens to be a member of the Rothschild family. So you have Leon Black, Jewish financier, head of Apollo Global Management. Runner-up is the Rothschilds. Mr. Epstein also gave...
No surprise seeing the Rothschilds on there. I mean, just a quick thing. Obviously, over the years, I've been very big into kind of conspiracies. There's been loads of stuff about the Rothschilds. It's just nice to kind of see everything get confirmed to be... Obviously, some of it was false, but a lot of the sort of conspiracies around, for example, the Rothschilds and the sort of activities that they're up to kind of being confirmed to be true now.
Mr. Black access to his Rolodex. Over the years, he connected him with Bill Gates and Stephen Bannon. He introduced one of Mr. Black's sons to Woody Allen to learn about film editing. Mr. Black, meanwhile, donated millions to one of Mr. Epstein's charities. Some work that Mr. Epstein performed for Mr. Black required the utmost discretion. For instance, he helped him keep a long-running extramarital affair under wraps. So this is where Epstein gets his money. How did he get rich? How did he become a billionaire? He gets it from ultra-wealthy Jewish financial clients. And think about this relationship. Epstein says that he's a tax genius. This is the cover story, that Epstein is a brilliant financier, a math whiz. And he is so intelligent, in particular with math, but also with financial instruments and tax laws and offshore bank accounts. He is worth billions to his clients. And so this is why, allegedly, his handful of clients are giving him hundreds of millions of dollars. But it goes further than that. Epstein is effectively given a blank check. He can ask for these huge sums of money and they cough it up. He's on the board of their foundations. He's handling even their personal affairs, literally their extramarital affairs, introducing them to their girlfriends. And you got to wonder, so what is really going on here? Well, it's pretty obvious. Jeffrey Epstein is probably not a math genius. He's probably not a financial wizard. He probably isn't an expert on the tax code. What he is a fixer. What he is somebody who introduces people to women and then maybe uses that as blackmail. Or that's just one of the services that he provides. It's hard actually to know where the one begins, where the one ends, and the other begins.
That's true. I mean, was this just like a big blackmail organisation? Or was it more, they were asking for this service? They wanted these sort of underage women and were willing to pay Epstein the big bucks. And just one thing on Nick as well, because he's come under a lot of criticism lately because of his comments on Jeffrey Epstein. And I think in typical kind of Nick fashion, he's been a little bit hyperbolic and rage-bait. And I think his main point with Epstein, because there's so many different conspiracies about him being like a Satanist and this and that, what Nick is basically saying is it's not as kind of crazy as that. What Epstein was working for Israel. He was part of Israeli intelligence. That's what Nick is getting at. But in kind of Nick fashion, he is sort of rage baiting and saying some sort of hyperbolic things to get a rise out of people. Yeah.
He introduces Leon Black to a woman who eventually accuses him of assault and abuse. Epstein also helps Black cover up an extramarital affair. So what is he actually? Is he somebody that's providing women to billionaires as one of his many services? Making introductions, making political problems go away, making tax problems go away, introducing people to the managers of offshore bank accounts. And maybe that is separate from or in the service of also blackmailing them too. If you know the financial crimes that a person is involved in, if you know the sexual crimes that a person is involved in, it also gives you leverage over that person. And unlike a traditional lawyer, you don't necessarily have that confidentiality understanding. If you go to a billionaire like Leon Black or Les Wexner, who we'll talk about in a moment, and you're trying to implement a tax avoidance scheme, you're working your connections with Israel, working your connections with people in the Caribbean, in the United Kingdom, in the Gulf. If you know, so to speak, where the financial bodies are buried, also you know a person's sexual crimes, it gives you considerable leverage, and you can ask for $150 million in payment, even if you're not even necessarily that good at your job or providing great services. Maybe Jeffrey Epstein is not offering $150 million in value for his tax advice, but it's $150 million in solving other kinds of problems that may even be of his own creation. I want to talk a little bit also, though, about Leon Black and his connections, just to give you an idea. So Leon Black's father is a man by the name of Eli Black. His real name is Elihu Blackowitz, spelled Blachowicz. Now, Leon Black, his son, is the head of Apollo Global Management. He's a huge financier. Apollo Management is a big private equity firm. If you were uninitiated, you would look at this guy and say, oh, Leon Black, that's kind of a cool name. You wouldn't even think anything of it, right? Well, the real name is Blackowitz. It's a Polish Jewish name. His father is named Elihu Blackowitz, immigrated to the U.S. from Poland. His father was the head of one of these corporate rating conglomerates. He took over the United Fruit Company which was involved in the Caribbean in the 1970s. He committed suicide in 1975 because he tried to bribe the government of Honduras, and when it was found out, he knew he was going to jail. So he went to the top floor of the Pan Am building, threw his briefcase out the window, and then jumped and committed suicide. That's who these people are. That's the father of Leon Black, one of Jeffrey Epstein's, maybe his first or second biggest clients. Either his first or second biggest benefactor. His father is Eli Blackowitz, literally a criminal, a corporate criminal who is sort of involved in the exact same kinds of activities. Tries to bribe the government of Honduras, gets found out, commits suicide. Who is Leon Black? Well, Leon Black got his start at Apollo Global Management, which is the 29th largest private equity firm right now. He formed Apollo Management in 1990 after he departed another financial firm, which was called Drexel, Burnham, and Lambert. That company collapsed when its founder, named Michael Milken, was charged for all kinds of violations with the SEC. Fraud, racketeering, insider trading, all kinds of problems. Michael Milken was also a Jew. So go figure. You have Leon Black's father is a Jew from Poland. He tries to bribe the government of Honduras. He commits suicide. Leon Black gets involved with Michael Milken, who's another criminal. They call him the junk bond king. And he's basically running a criminal financial enterprise. He's another Jew. He goes down. When that firm explodes, Leon Black starts a new firm, and using the clients from his pre-existing business with this Milken character, he gets $400 million in investments.
Crazy.
He founds Apollo Global Management with another Jew named Mark Rowan. Now, what's interesting is that Mark Rowan is a huge supporter of the Trump administration. In the year 2020, the Trump administration pardoned Michael Milken, who had been in prison for the previous 30 years. So think about the layers to this. Leon Black, his father's a Jewish financial criminal. His mentor is a Jewish financial criminal. He uses his connections to these financial criminals to start a huge private equity firm, $400 million in investments off the rip. He starts it with a Jewish business partner. 30 years later, that Jewish business partner gives the Trump campaign $1 million, and Trump pardons Leon Black's mentor. This is how it works.
It just goes to show how kind of deep this Epstein kind of rabbit hole really is. I've been looking into it for a while. I'd recommend, guys, if you haven't already, have a look into Leon Black and Les Wexner. They're a couple of the main guys when it comes to, obviously there's, well, I say main guys, there's so many other people, but in terms of like giving money to Epstein, they were big players. Have a look into them, their history. Don't just take this for it. Have a look into it for yourself. I will warn you though, it is a rabbit hole, and the further you get into it, the more there is there to see. I just want to mention as well, I do apologise, I know I've not uploaded for about just over a month. I've kind of had a bit of a change in terms of my life choice. I've actually joined the army. So yeah, I've got a couple of days off, so I'm trying to sort of pre-record a few videos for you guys to put out. But yeah, just thought I'd cover this. I think it's really, really important just to kind of go over it, because there's a lot of misinformation about Epstein now. There's a lot of stuff that's being faked and being changed and storylines, and it's something that Nick, thankfully, is sort of highlighting and picking up on the amount of lies that are being put out on Epstein right now. Obviously, horrible guy, disgusting guy. A lot of people, everyone who's involved in that, fucking disgusting. But it comes down to, there's a lot of sort of, I love my conspiracies, but there is a lot of conspiracies coming out that are kind of claiming that he was more of a Satanist, or he was to do with this or do with that. And I think it's to sort of kind of try and distract and veer people away from the fact that it's very, very clear that Jeffrey Epstein worked on behalf of Israeli intelligence. It wasn't just him. Obviously, you've got Ghislaine Maxwell, her father, Robert Maxwell, I think it is, who obviously was known, used to own a football club in England. Works on behalf of Israeli intelligence, and I don't know whether it could be a deliberate sort of attempt by God knows who to try and, damage control and get that narrative off the internet. So they're pushing these other, that he was a Satanist, he was a this, he was a that. He was working on behalf of, he was obviously a freak and a predator, and had all sorts of fucking horrible things, and a disgusting guy. But it needs to be very clear that this guy was working on behalf of Israeli intelligence. But yeah, am I right? Is Nick right? I don't know. I'm just going on the internet, showing you Nick on the internet. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. As always, please like, subscribe, share the video if you can. It helps me out massively. Stay based. As always, I'll see you on the next one.